Good morning. This study investigated teacher and principal perceptions of how a culture of college readiness is achieved at the elementary school level. Thank you to those in attendance. My deepest gratitude to my dissertation committee. Thank you, Dr. Valentine, Dr. Bali, and Dr. Tucker. Also, thank you to those here supporting me now and throughout my dissertation journey. Finally, welcome to all of the other members of the audience. I will begin by telling you about how my professional interests have led me to this study. I have been teaching for 15 years at all levels of elementary, middle, and high school. In addition, I have worked at the district level as an instructional coach focused on supporting teachers of English language learners. Finally, I have been an elementary assistant principal for 2 years and currently on my 7th year as an elementary school principal. Throughout this journey, there have been a constant focus of how I am supporting students in developing goals, which include college. In addition, my experiences have led me to work directly with No Excuses University. I will discuss later the details of the No Excuses University model, but it was their focus on college readiness for all students at all levels that inspired me to seek a deeper understanding of how No Excuses University can support the educational systems. Damon Lopez, founder of No Excuses University, discussed how we begin teaching lessons to our children as small as babies, but for some reason the discussion of college in schools tends to be left in the hands of high school teachers, counselors, and college recruiters. He argues that this is too late. Damon Lopez states, "The idea that college readiness begins in high school is as senseless as the idea that parenting begins when children become teenagers." The purpose of this qualitative multi-case study was to investigate teachers and principals' perceptions on how a culture of college readiness is achieved at the elementary school level. The research specifically explored schools that have adopted the No Excuses University approach on college readiness. In 2011, the College Board published a document entitled Education Pays: The Benefits of Higher Education for Individuals and Society. This document describes how education has significant positive impact of social, physical, and financial success, supporting the global economy. Some of the research indicates that as your level of education increases, your expected income also increases. In fact, the median earnings are close to 2 times more as a college graduate as compared to a high school graduate. The statistics of Education Pays also describes how those with higher degrees tend to be less obese, have more civic involvement through volunteering duties, and seek fewer resources from federal aid. These statistics are not surprising to most, but the question remains, why are all students not college and career ready? Education reform has led to the movement of college and career readiness just within the last decade. Influences of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, the Nation at Risk Report of 1984, Goals 2000, and No Child Left Behind have all led to the necessity of college and career opportunities to be part of the educational blueprint. Beginning in 2009, the National Common Core State Standards were introduced into legislation. These standards have evolved and have adopted into 42 states across the nation. The standards included what are known as anchor standards. These standards convey specific college and career expectations at all levels. However, they don't convey how a school can create a culture surrounded around the deeper meanings of being college and career ready at the elementary school level. The reason for the study is supported by the fact that the state of California and 41 other states are constructing their academic program around the tenet of preparing America's students for college and career. This initiative is an attempt to create a new generation that is more prepared for the demands of the global economy. The research has demonstrated that those with college degrees have a beneficial impact on the society as a whole. The void, however, comes from school culture. The standards may articulate the expected rigor, but they may not support the impact on students that can be made by the school culture. 3 questions were examined in this study. How does an elementary school that has adopted the No Excuses University model achieve a culture of readiness? How is a culture of college readiness reflected in the daily routines and structures of the school? And do teachers and principals perceive the use of the No Excuses University model to be effective in achieving a culture of college readiness? In addition to the educational legislation of the last 30 years, my literature review included work of Conley, Hoffman, Park, and Lopez. In 2010, Conley and his colleagues defined college readiness as skills necessary to be successful without intervention or remediation in a post-secondary program. Conducting a qualitative study of 38 high schools around the nation developed this definition that is widely accepted today. The study was able to identify 7 key principles highlighting a comprehensive methodology for promoting college readiness by the end of the high school level. The principles included creating a core academic program aligned with and leading to college readiness, teaching self-management skills, creating assignments and grading policies more closely related to college expectations, and making the senior year meaningful. The crux of the study was the focus on the high school setting. However, Conley's first principle supports this study, stating the most important principle is to create and maintain a college-going culture in the school. Conley's study led to the creation of EPIC, Educational Policy Improvement Center, which has coined the themes of think, know, act, and go as a model of providing students college readiness skills. Hoffman also researched college readiness, focusing on models of dual enrollment. These programs allow high school student opportunities to cross-enroll in post-secondary institution and take courses that provide credit towards both a high school diploma and college. The goals of these types of programs include options for college success, an increase of academic rigor, and improved motivation for high school students to attend a post-secondary institution in the future. Again, the study focused only on high school opportunities. Park conducted a systematic review of qualitative research looking at themes of college readiness or pathway programs such as advanced placement and international baccalaureate. Both of these programs provide a comprehensive curriculum to support lifelong learning skills and a competitive edge for high school students applying for post-secondary opportunities. Although the definition of college readiness is accepted as skills necessary to be successful without intervention or remediation in a post-secondary program, this research suggests a deeper meaning of culture should be explored. The theoretical framework of organizational culture was used to support the findings throughout the study. The work of Sheen, Bowman, Deal, and Peterson designed the concepts of culture through the lens of beliefs, espoused values, and underlying assumptions. The beliefs of a culture demonstrate what the cultural group is committed to, while espoused values are how an organization does business based on what they value. Underlying assumptions are the deeper beliefs that influence the entire culture. Organizational culture can also be found with the use of symbols, rituals, artifacts, and traditions. Elements of organizational culture will be further discussed in the findings. In addition, this study used the research of Muhammad on modern school culture. The research included a longitudinal ethnographical study of schools across the nation and how their belief of will and skill impact the culture of a school. There are various models of college and career readiness being promoted throughout the nation. This study specifically focused on 3 schools that have adopted the No Excuses University model to support their development of college and career readiness at their school site. No Excuses University is not a program, nor is it a curriculum that includes how-to guides, teacher manuals, or explicit instructional materials. No Excuses University is a model or approach for establishing a culture of college readiness for every student, despite limitations or barriers students may encounter. The model encompasses 6 distinctive systems that support a culture of universal achievement with a focus on college readiness. The 6 systems include a culture of universal achievement, collaboration, standards alignment, assessment, data management, and intervention. Each system is integrated with the others, and all are based on the foundation of a culture supporting the work of each system. In broad terms, this research investigated the No Excuses University foundational system of developing a culture of universal achievement. The system relies on the critical mass of a school staff believing that all students have a variety of ways to be academically successful and ultimately college ready. 3 No Excuses University schools were selected from the over 240 schools within the network. A database of schools was obtained from No Excuses University, and I then disaggregated the data beginning with schools in Southern California. This limitation was due to needing the ease and convenience of schools being relatively close. However, I have not worked at any of the schools and do not have relationships with the districts the schools are found. None of the schools in the study were charter, magnet, or private schools. 2 schools selected were Title I schools, which included a significant population of students receiving free or reduced lunch. One of the schools selected was not a Title I school and included a higher number of students coming from more affluent families. All of the schools have worked within the No Excuses University network for a minimum of 3 years. There were 26 teacher participants, 8 to 10 from each school site. The original study sought 30 teacher participants. However, one teacher did not meet the minimum requirements of teaching at the school for a minimum of 3 years. 2 teachers were out on medical, and 1 teacher was out due to a district training. There were 3 principal participants, 1 from each school site. All of the principals were principals at their current site for a minimum of 2 years. There were 3 phases of data collection in this qualitative case study. I began by spending a minimum of 1 day at each school site observing the classrooms of each participant, morning assemblies, and the daily routines of the school. The second phase of data collection included interviews. Each participant's interview lasted 30 to 60 minutes. The questions included a description of the perceived culture, experiences of college readiness in the classroom, and the perceived effectiveness of the No Excuses University in promoting college readiness at the elementary school level. Last, I was able to collect artifacts through data collection by reviewing the school website, school handbook, school bulletin boards, and exterior marquees or murals. One limitation of this study was the perceived candidness of the participants. Teachers or principals may have felt limited in what they said out of concern for privacy and confidentiality. In order to address this limitation, I maintained the confidentiality of each participant and did not share the information outside of the purpose of the research. All participants and schools had a pseudonym to protect their identity through the research. Another limitation may relate to my involvement of the No Excuses University network of schools. My current school is the 3rd school I have directly worked with to become a No Excuses University school. In order to address this limitation, an effort to remain objective toward the results of the study was made by bracketing personal experiences as they related to achieving a culture of college readiness using the No Excuses University model. Finally, a limitation may be the scope of the study. This study described the experiences of 3 elementary schools in Southern California. Unlike the results of quantitative research, findings of this qualitative research may not be generalized to the scope of the entire No Excuses University National Network of Schools, nor to schools not operating under this model. With thorough observations, interviews, and document collection, 3 themes were evident on the perceptions of how a culture of college readiness is achieved at the elementary school level. To begin, teachers and principals emphasized that a strongly held belief system reinforced by a common language is important in achieving a culture of college readiness. Chris, a teacher from No Excuses University Elementary School A, shared this by discussing how a critical mass was needed to develop a culture of college readiness. Chris shared, I feel we finally have a critical mass of teachers who truly believe that these kids can go to college and be successful. Amy from No Excuses Elementary School C shared similar sentiments, stating, predominantly, we want all kids to be successful educationally. We want them to be successful emotionally. We want them to be successful socially with their peers and within the greater community. Amy's perception of college readiness at this level considered how the belief held within the culture of a school today would support the student's future. No Excuses University Elementary School A made its universal achievement belief clear to everyone visiting the campus. The school had a quotation painted on the outside of the administration building, prominently expressing their core belief system. The entire school community could easily see the message. We are committed implied a culture that has a belief in all students that knows no limits. No Excuses University Elementary School C also exhibited their belief system using the Wooden's success principles. The rendition of this mural is found in a children's book, which was seen in the majority of the classrooms, titled Inch and Miles, The Journey to Success, written by John Wooden, respected former University of California, Los Angeles basketball coach. The pyramid promotes principles to support the success of children and adults. This mural illustrates how the school culture adopted a belief system of success for all students and provides a framework of skills to support this process. This study used the research of Muhammad to support the findings that a belief system impacts culture. Muhammad identified 4 types of behaviors found in modern school culture. He described believers as people who believe in the potential of the students and how their behavior may directly impact the student's success. Tweeners are generally newer teachers looking for the purpose in the culture, and this type of person can be easily swayed. Survivors are staff members who are surviving day to day and often negotiate with students. Last are fundamentalists who tend to embrace how things were done in the past and may take the form of a naysayer towards new initiatives. After I provided a brief description of these behaviors during the participant interviews, most participants identified themselves as believers and expressed the conviction that this category most positively influences a culture of college readiness at the elementary school level. Marissa, for example, has been teaching for 18 years at No Excuses University Elementary School A. Without hesitation, she identified herself as a believer. She stated, "My thought is no matter what things are going to change. You can go with the change and try to do the best you can, or you can be the naysayer who's going to complain about everything, no matter what." Aubrey shared how staff has a choice to believe. I think part of it is choice. When it's something you truly believe in and it's for the betterment of the kids, it's not about us, it's about what's best for the kids, because we get to choose where we work and they have to be here. So let's make it the best place for them to learn. A common language was a noticeable theme of each of the 3 schools found in this research during the observation phase of the study. The common language supported and reinforced the commitment of each of the teachers to the belief that all students would become familiar with college vocabulary that would shape and support their future. Linda from No Excuses University Elementary School C shared from the ground level in kindergarten, we're introducing the concept of college. We introduced the vocabulary. We are talking about college and what college is. During classroom observations, it was noted that all rooms had samples of college vocabulary posted on their walls in various formats. Many classrooms included samples of college vocabulary on their college wall. Others posted the samples of college vocabulary on a separate bulletin board. The words posted were dependent on the grade level. The primary grade, which includes grades K through 2, had fewer words like college or graduate. As the grade levels increased, the number and sophistication of the words increased as well, like grant or research. The theoretical framework of organizational culture provides a basis of culture and how it can be developed through artifacts, beliefs, values, and assumptions. In 1994, Stolp argued that culture should be identified through even deeper patterns. Therefore, I probed into participants' personal experiences of college readiness in development of the second finding that college exposure is an essential component in promoting college readiness at the elementary school level. Lucy is a primary grade teacher from No Excuses Elementary School A. She came from a low-income family and community about 30 minutes away from the school at which she is currently employed. In addition, the city she currently works in has a large university. Despite the close proximity of her home to higher education opportunities, she reiterated that college was never explicitly discussed at home or at school. Lucy shared, "I guess I was one of the lucky ones that was at the school on the right day at the right time, and somebody kind of pulled me into the counseling office and said, 'You are taking your SATs, and that way you can go to college,' which is a word I had never heard before." Similar to Lucy, Carla was animated in expressing her childhood experiences. She came from a small town in northern Wyoming with a population of about 500 and communicated how she never learned about education beyond high school. "No one ever really explained how you attend college. I graduated and I didn't really know what to do. I was like, well, how do I get to this college?" Christine from No Excuses University Elementary School B was emotional during her interview regarding college experiences in her personal past. Through her tears, she illustrated how she had grown up in a low-income family that was not focused on higher education opportunities. "No, my parents did not encourage me to go to college, mainly because," pausing to compose herself, "sorry, growing up without the financial stability was really hard, and I wanted more for myself." These experiences highlighted a deeper pattern that many are not provided experiences of college to truly understand how it can benefit their own future. Therefore, the schools in this study implemented conceptual understanding and tangible experiences of college to provide exposure on what the student's future could include. This research found that a conceptual understanding of college was most prominent at the primary grades of kindergarten through grade 2. Darla teaches kindergarten students aged 4 to 5 years old and said, "We talk about it all the time. We talk about how it takes hard work and what they need to learn." Darla shared once her class had a visitor from USC and the students introduced themselves as USC graduates. Even in kindergarten, they had internalized their experience by conceptualizing themselves as graduates of USC. Heather teaches first grade and shares how it is conceptual through visualization in the classroom. She shared, "We show our degrees, we have college boards, we show our diplomas, explaining what it's like to become a college student someday." Katie sees providing a conceptual awareness as no different from any other learning opportunities for her first grade student. "I think it's a stepping stone, just like education has always been. It's building blocks, and this is just another building block." As students progress through the grades, more tangible experiences of college readiness are provided. Julissa shared how she has students write to the college that they have adopted. She also explained by the time students are in 5th grade, they have had the opportunity to visit colleges. Heather shared about her school's College Readiness Week, where students hear about and interact with college students or college visitors. Finally, all 3 schools in this study use the published No Excuses University planners for upper grade students. The planners support students in the development of college vocabulary, organizational skills, and study skills. When college readiness is discussed at the elementary level, dialogue is commonly centered on symbolism of college, flags, banners, photos, or t-shirts. Although this is an important element of college readiness, this research demonstrated how symbolism was only one element used in achieving a culture of college readiness. Symbolism included college chants, college flags adorning the classroom entrances, murals, and college-themed t-shirts, which included phrases like "Follow me to college." The final finding was that a culture of college readiness is achieved at the elementary school level through the promotion of scholarly behaviors. This research defines scholarly behaviors as actions of students responding to learning tasks that promote knowledge and academic achievement. Through extensive time of observing classrooms, a common theme was found. I named this theme structured autonomy. Students were provided college-like experiences through collaboration and accountability. The teachers in these school cultures were much more of a facilitator towards learning, while students collaborated on their own learning. There were structured elements of accountability, however, students had college-like experiences by feeling empowered to learn the content using their selected path. In regards to responding to my observation of structured autonomy, participants responded, "It's 100% like college. I give them choice and they set their goals. When they reach them, they can be proud of what they did and set new goals even higher." A variety of college readiness study skills were identified during interviews, observations, and document collection. The participants highlighted the importance of these skills. Collaboration was commonly observed at each of the 3 schools. Organization was promoted through note-taking, use of planner, and modeling a neat workspace. It was clear in many of the observations that students were able to articulate the importance of their learning. This was explicitly shared by many of the teachers by explaining the learning and why it was important, or applying the learning to future tasks. One school in the study provided a copy of the report card where students get an actual college and career-ready grade, which included a rating as being a self-directed learner, community contributor, complex thinker, effective communicator, and effective use of technology. All of these college-ready study skills may support the student in their future experiences with college. This study began with 3 research questions. The first question was the basis of the study, asking, how does an elementary school that has adopted the No Excuses University model achieve a culture of college readiness? The study identified 3 findings common to each of the research schools. First, it is clear that the desired culture was reported as being achieved by establishing a clear belief system, and that such a belief system is supported by a common language. The belief that all students can achieve future college opportunities was foundational for participants. Next, a culture of college readiness was perceived to exist in the provision of multiple opportunities for students to be exposed to college. Last, a culture that has achieved a sense of college readiness at the elementary school level utilizes strategies to teach and implement scholarly behaviors to support student learning. The second question asked, how is a culture of college readiness reflected in the daily routines and structures of the school? This study identified that schools can achieve college readiness at the elementary school level through daily routines and structures ranging from the physical symbolism on campus to language used inside and outside of the classroom and scholarly behaviors explicitly taught to students at all levels. The physical symbolism included artifacts of school culture for each campus involved in the research. These artifacts represented a culture where staff had developed beliefs of what was perceived as an effective elementary school environment conducive to learning and becoming college ready. In addition to the symbolism, daily routines and structures were found in the classroom observed through high levels of student collaboration, articulation of learning, and evident organizational skills. These scholarly behaviors encouraged and mimicked opportunities the students have later in college. Finally, the research asked, do teachers and principals perceive the use of the No Excuses University model to be effective in achieving a culture of college readiness? I found through this study that No Excuses University is perceived to be an effective model to support a culture of college readiness at the elementary school level. The effectiveness was determined by the common understanding of the model itself as conveyed by the perceptions of both teachers and principals at each school sites. There were more similarities than differences between the teacher and principal perceptions and among each of the three schools. This consistent understanding of how the No Excuses University model is used to achieve a culture of college readiness is evidence of the model's overall effectiveness in establishing a culture of college readiness. Kim shared how No Excuses University actually changed her feelings about teaching itself. I went into teaching. It was fun, but I didn't love it until actually adopting No Excuses University and seeing the difference that it made for my students and falling in love with the fact that there are no excuses. There are multiple programs marketed to teachers, schools, and districts promoting the idea of college readiness. However, some of these programs provide only short-term solutions, are limited to specific student populations, or have a high cost to implement. Developing a culture of college readiness means creating an environment in which all the stakeholders believe in each student's abilities and provide structures to support their readiness. The No Excuses University model may be something administrators would want to consider when exploring methods to establishing a culture of college readiness within their school. Several questions that go beyond the parameters of this particular study suggest themselves as topics for future research that would complement and extend the knowledge base concerning college readiness. They include: what is the perception of parents and students of college readiness? How do cultures differ at different levels? How can a culture of naysayers be transformed into a culture of believers? Or what has been the experience of students who have attended and graduated from No Excuse University schools? My hopes are the results of this study can be used in supporting school at all levels in achieving a culture of college readiness for all students. This study suggests it is not the role of adults to determine a student's future, but is their role to provide them structures that prepare them to make successful use of opportunities. I will use this study to influence the culture of schools locally and nationally. No Excuses University has already asked me to use the summary of this research in its annual report to demonstrate how a culture of college readiness using the No Excuses University model is influencing students and school culture. In addition, this research will be used to support the professional development and lesson planning for teachers. I am currently in development of a book that will provide lessons on college readiness to be taught throughout the school year at all levels. In conclusion, Tanya articulated her message while encompassing the importance of this study. Tanya states, "We really are setting our kids up for failure. If we don't change the way we engage in our profession, I think that's really the premise of this. Let's re-examine our readiness, because if we don't ever self-reflect and we don't have those benchmarks to which we compare ourselves, how do we intend on being a driving force in the global economy?" Thank you.